Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, very good morning, everyone. We are going to proceed with the session. Hope my screen is visible and my voice is also audible with everyone.
Yes. Good morning, Khan. Yes.
So, as in the last sessions, we already discussed with some data analysis or exploratory data analysis concepts. Uh, Now we are proceeding with this, the next step where we have to perform some about today's workshop about like the data cleanings, like handling missing values, detecting and removing outliers, data transformations and normalizations, as well as the feature engineering parts. We have to see creating new features, feature selections, techniques. We'll have to see about that particular thing. So I'm just selecting with the name again one more time. That's I uploaded my data here. That's Airbnb NYC 2019. Yesterday already I shared in a WhatsApp group, so you can refer the same data sets here. So first of all, that's I'm going to importing some necessary library, which is very important for extracting the data or importing the data. So import pandas as pd, import numpy as np, import matplotlib. So matplotlib dot pyplot as plt. So these are also the importing warnings. If there is any warning will come, so Python having that particular features that they are going to be remove that particular warnings as well. So if it is required, then only you have to give it, but otherwise not necessary to provide about that particular thing. So I'm just going to perform about here about this particular things. And before this, I'm going to add one more text here. And in the text, what I'm going to do about importing libraries here. Basic libraries. So this is just I'm going to importing about the basic libraries first. So once the library is loaded, we can proceed and we can extract my data here. So df is equal to pd dot read underscore csv. I'm going to take the path of that particular thing. So copy path of that respective file and just moving ahead with this df dot head as well. So you can see that my data is here about this particular things. Now that's already yesterday I had to explain about this particular things. Now one by one we can move ahead and we can perform some task here about how we can perform this particular step or this particular stuff. So like I just applied pd.read underscore summary. Basically, this is exploratory data analysis we are going to do here. Airbnb booking analysis. The purpose of this analysis, understanding the factors that influence Airbnb prices in the New York City or identifying patterns of all variables in our analysis provides useful informations for travelers and hosts in the city and also provides some best insights for the Airbnb businesses. So obviously we have to perform some analysis as well as the visualizations things. But as already I told you yesterday about EDA is not about only we are looking for to some what exactly data is telling to you. If it is needed to perform some cleaning, some removing, like we yesterday I explained about outliers and all the things. If it is required, we have to perform it. So the fundamental is very important. Like we have to perform some things like the what will be the problem statement for this. The problem statement is what exactly we can go ahead. The problem statements, there will be a multiple problem statements. I can say that uh, what are the most popular neighborhoods for the Airbnb rentals in the New York City. So just like you can see that neighborhoods, you can see to it that neighborhood group is there, host name is there. So we can calculate it. It's like what are the most neighborhoods for Airbnb rentals in the New York City? How do prices and availability vary by neighborhood? So we have to look properly on that respective columns, and definitely we can see that how the particular or the prices and availability vary by the neighborhood. So we'll have to see one by one. Let's first of all that we have to perform some cleaning stuff here. So once the cleaning stuff will be done about this particular thing, so I'm just looking again as it is. Df df dot is null, or info is also one of the commands. You have to always remember it. Informations, you will always get the informations about this particular data frame. So already yesterday I explained about this is a what exactly non-null, integers, objects, float 64. That's what are the objects and everything. So you have to just look it carefully about this particular thing. So I'm looking to perform something here about like the df dot is null. So you can see that is null dot sum. So this is something we will get about this particular. So like the name is having the 16 null values, 20 host name is having 21 null values. And if you look at here about 10052, that is having the last review, as well as 10052 is also having the null values. So the null values we already calculated. We saw about like how it's going to be affect with your analysis or your visualization as well. So it's your duty and it's your responsibility. Either you can remove the null values, or what we can do is you have to fill some unknown values, you have to some fill suitable values, you have to sometime fill the value with the mean, median, or that particular stuffs. Or either if the all the conditions you are not going to be utilize it, so you can directly remove that particular things, or remove that null values or that particular entries from your data sets. But what exactly the problem is, like for example, the host name is having 21 null values. That means the 21 rows is going to be automatically removed. So I can show you about like this particular thing as well. Like if you can go ahead and just see about the df dot shape, that's this command. So you will get the idea about the shape. So 48895 dot shape, the 16. So 16 features or 16 variables or 16 columns are there. So let's we have to go ahead and perform some things there where let's I'm just doing a lot of stuffs because sometime it is required. Like here this id is given, so I can give that's name of the id as a listing id. Sometime the name I can go ahead and perform that listing name, as well as the if you can see that this particular number of reviews are there, so I can give this is the name as a total reviews, as well as the calculated host listing counts I can give as the host listing count as it is. So I'm just going to define or rename about the column. So I'm, because there are some multiple columns names I'm going to rename, so I'm just going to define about one simple way or directly separately, like the columns rename columns is equal to, so the first one is I'm going to id, and id is going to be replaced with the uh, listing id. Similarly, if I'm going to perform with the second one is the name, it's not mandatory, but if sometime if it is required to, for your understanding or for your operations to rename about the things, you can do the rename of the respective columns as well. So it is a mandate, not a mandatory steps, but sometime it might be required. So you should aware it's like how we can remove the or rename the columns name. So it's mandatory. Yesterday already we saw about that particular things. So the listing name I can give it's about that particular things, comma. Similarly, I can give this the second that's the total reviews. So total reviews, that's the name of this. You guess not. this is the name, number of reviews. I can copy it, and for this particular, I can change the name as the total reviews. Total reviews. Now the next one I can give as the uh, this particular name, changing with this particular part as the I can use the host listing counts. So this would be going to be replaced with the host listing count. So this is going to be happening here about this particular rename. So whatever the rename informations you provided, that is going to be stored in this rename columns. So now the next is what exactly we are going to in the df in the data frames. So the df dot, you can see that automatically you will get df dot rename, that's columns, and the columns, if you want to write it here the columns, you can do it here as well. But already I just uh, store the whatever the changes required or whatever the editing or the rename requires, I stored in the rename column. So I'm just going to do here about this particular things. And when I will look here about the df dot columns, you can see to it that columns, you can see to it that particular thing is also id is going to be change. Id is or info, you can take its id is going to be change. Info, that would be a better. So info, you can perform it. So info, you can see that ID is listing ID. This is a listing name. Then as well as we did about the changes as the total reviews instead of the number of reviews, and the calculated host listing counts is going to be changed with the host listing count. So if required to do some renaming or the editing of the respective features or the respective columns, you have to perform this or you have to do this kind of a task. So it is not a compulsory step, but it is sometime it might be required. So for that particular things, so next we have to go and perform about this particular stuff as the null values is already I created and I found it about this particular thing. So this step I can perform here again, so that it's going to be utilized. Null value is means it's a like NN values or empty values about that particular thing. So that null values we are calling as the null value. It's not about default values. So I'm going to be checking about that particular things as it is. One more things, if I will go ahead and just perform about this particular as the df dot count, what will be the count, df dot count. So the what we exactly you will get is 48895 about this particular things is going to be calculated here about this listing ID and everything. So count is what exactly it's counting, and obviously you will getting about the information here about this account of that particular thing that's already we did in the df.describe commands, and we are getting about that kind of a record as well. So just remember it about that particular things. If you need to drop duplicates or something, you can perform some time task about that particulars to make a data properly clean. So just like if I will go ahead, if there is any duplicate rows in a data set, it might be present, you have to remove. So for that particular reason, sometime you have to perform some operations, and that operations we can call as that dropping duplicates value. So the df is equal to, I can write here about this is uh, drop duplicates or duplicate rows in data set. So df is equal to df dot drop, df dot drop. You can see that drop duplicates, and obviously when you have to go at df dot count, There is, I don't think there is any duplicates or anything is there. You can see to it that the same result we are getting here about that. So there might be no duplicates value is present, but in some time some data sets having the same or duplicates row is presented. So with this particular commands, your data or that particular data frame is going to be remove that duplicates value from the original data set. So just remember it about this particular things. Null values are not created by the person who creates the code, right? What's your question? How, why he is going to be create the null values? If he is why he need to clean the data, then why he is going to create the null values? Null values might be there in the data sets. Sometime like you have that 16 columns, might be the 15 columns value you have, but 16 one columns you are not having the value. So might be the that particular space is going to be empty, or sometime you have to put some bad values or that particular things or like an or that particular value. So that value we are calling as the null values. Null values is not going to be created by the those who are doing the coding. Though the person who is going to do a coding, if he is going to put the null values, then why he is going to clear about that or clean about that null values? So null values means the null values, that's the empty values about that particular things. Like you have the 16 columns about this particular things, null values. Like here is this is about this is one row here. And suppose at this host ID is completely empty. So that means it's a null value is present in this particular columns. Like host ID is having the null values. For example, this is whole column is there, and unfortunately it's going to be presented here about the listing calculated host listing count, and this all values are all the rows like this particular all columns. Like here you can see that NaN, you can see that NaN, so that value is called as the null values. So null values, because this there is a 1 365 as well as the 0 3 150, then all these particular columns having the value except the last review and reviews per month. So last review and reviews per month having the NN values. So that is actually the null values. Is there a file size limit for upload in Colab or Jupyter? No, I don't think like file size. Obviously, if you have the multiple size of like 100 or 200 GBs, obviously the process would be very small or very slow. So for that particular, the size is not going to be affect, but obviously this is the RAM and disk. You have to just understand about this. This is a virtual things we are going to about this particular showing resources about system RAM is this particular disk is this particular. So this is about the cloud domain we are operating for the cloud collab. So this is resources. Let's we have to remove it about this particular things. The df dot count is summation of all the values of a particular summation. Yeah, the respective columns count you are getting about that particular things. What exactly do you mean by cleaning of this null values? That's cleaning of the null values means we have to remove that null values. We have to completely drop that particular respective columns, or sometimes we have to fill with the respective other elements as well. So it might be depends upon the requirement of the projects, what exactly we are going to do here. So I'm going to perform about the task here about first that I'm going to fill. So what exactly I found is here about this particular task as the 16. So listing name is having the 16 null values and the host name is having the 21 null values about this particular. So what I'm going to do here about that particular things, uh, last review, and I can say that reviews per month. Last review and reviews per month. So I'm just looking to drop one column directly. So last review, I can drop it, but reviews per month, if required, you can take it. So last review and reviews per month columns having 10052 null values each. But in our analysis, the last review, I'm not going to consider. So I'm going to drop that particular columns directly. So I have to clean about this data. So we can go ahead and perform with filling with some values about that particular thing. So let's that's your data frame about that listing name. First of all, one by one listing that name, listing name dot filna. Filna is the commands we have to always use about the filna. So whatever the filling commands you can write, like no name is there. If you want to put it as the unknown, for example, I can put it as the unknown and in place is true. Suppose when I'm going to define with this particular things, you can see to it that this particular thing is the dot df dot is null about, or I can take only that particular thing as the listing name that we can take as the is null sum. Yeah, so there is no null values now present. Earlier, what listing name is showing, the listing name is having the 16 null values. If we can go ahead and just check it about this particular thing, just like we saw as well here about the null values in the listing or the last reviews as well. So you can see to it that similarly I'm going to use about, so what actually is going to be happen here, it's going to be happen whatever the place where the null values are present in the respective columns of the listing name, it's going to be filled with the unknown. So it's not going to be considered as the null values, the value is going to be unknown and that value is going to be counted. So just remember it about this particular things. It's very important process. A lot of times we have to perform this process. So Philna, that's again, I'm taking the next column as well. Uh, Host name is also there. So host name, Philna, no name. I can reuse the no name here. Or whatever the value you need, it's you can do it's about the no name. And in place is equal to true. So again, it's going to be performing about this. So the particular stuff is going to be happening the that particular things. Now again, if I'm going to check about both the things here, like Control C, Control V. Here I can take as the this is both the things I'm taking, so I can take as the two this particular things, listing name and host name. That host name. You can see to it that this particular, so both having the 0 0 now. Now the null values are totally removed. The one is removed filled by the unknown and the second one is filled by the no name. So we have to, I'm going to dropping about that particular uh, column. So last review columns I'm going to drop. So how to drop, yesterday already I shown about that particular thing. Df is equal to df dot drop is the function commands drop. You can see that last review columns I'm going to drop it, and the axis is equal to 1. Whenever we have to drop the respective columns or the columns, we always need axis is equal to 1. When I'm going to perform this particular things, you can see that again, if I'm going to take about the df dot info, you can see to it that info is going to be, so about last review is completely removed. So there is no last review is present in the column name. So if it is required, so you can do it. If it is not required, you can keep it as it is. So reviews per month, the last review I clearly removed it. That's object. So 3843, that particular thing is not present here. You can see that last only reviews per month is there and total reviews is there. So we have to move ahead with the next part. Like already I told about that particular things, replacing, because one more column is pending here. Because if you can go ahead and perform again df dot is null dot sum, you will get it about here. So 10052 is still it's showing about here that is. So I'm just looking to this particular column. So DF, that's I'm going to taking as the reviews per month fill now. This is I'm just taking going to use the fill now and filling with the zero or whatever the value you want it. You can fill with that particular things about that the value that's I'm going to perform about this particular thing. So what exactly we can do it here about this, or we can kept as it is if whether it's working or not. So let's we have to go ahead and check it about that. Similarly, DF, that reviews per month dot is null sum. So its value is going to be same here. Now DF dot head, if you can see to it that DF dot head, earlier if you can see to it that the earlier what when we perform it about then the second row, if you can, so third row, we can see to it that this 0, 1, and 2, if you can see to it that this is an N, like it's reviews per month is or last review. So last review is already I removed it, or that column is already removed. It's now reviews per month column is there. So we can check it as well as about that value. So you will get the zero. Is going to be filled with the zero. So you can check it about this reviews per month. So you will get is about the 0.00. So this is we just did it about reviews per month, and you can see to it that is going to be filled with 0.00. So this is the process we can utilize it to in place true about that particular thing. So obviously in place true or this particular, you should remember it about this particular, because this is a very simple step that whatever the place you are uh, going to utilize it. If you can go ahead and just using about this as the whether is working or not, let's how to check. Always remember it whenever you have to perform the task. If you can go ahead and just create it, the collab is already gets in place true is obviously the uh, argument modifies the data frame df directly without needing to assign the results back to df. If in place is equal to false, that is which is by default, the method would return a new data frame with the NaNs field, and you would need to assign the new this new data frame back to df to retain the changes. And in place equal to true when I'm applying about this particular things, so it's automatically going to be creating or modifying arguments is going to be modifies the data frames df directly without needing to assign the results back to df. So that's why it's a true is required whenever we are going to fill about any values. Like here also I define about the in place true. Here also I define the in place true here about that particular things. Specific field means what? Specific cell you are asking? So for that particular things, you have to enter in that particular replace that particular things, replace specific value about that. We can do it with the same commands, right? Replace commands, we can perform that particular things. So obviously you can do it's lot of way. See, for that particular reasons, you that's why I've told that yesterday only about like you can take a proper Python codings about that then only you will get the exact understanding, because Panda is not a very small cup of tea that's in a 6 hours you are going to just I'm going to show you one example. Listing ID that's having the value that having the value 1 2 3 4 about this. Can go ahead, reviews. That's I can take as the taking about some values here as well. So 0.5, 1.0, 1.2, 1.0. So these are the some values here. Now we have to create the pandas or the data frame of that particular things. So that's already is done it with this particular things. So data is equal to reviews per month or reviews is done it so not properly. 0. This will be the listing ID 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is why the next column is so let's that df1 is equal to pd dot data frame that is equal to I can take as the data out it will work it's yeah. So my new data frame is there. So df1 is equal to you can see to it that the df is equal to now specific if required about to replace about 1.0. For example, I'm going to replace about or randomly any value you can take it's about that particular things or what value you are going to fit it. So I'm just going to put it as the uh, NN values about that particular thing. So any values you can utilize it. So df1 that which column is there that's reviews. So I can take the column as the reviews. You can see to it that automatically. So is going to be shown you about that particular things. So dot replace. We are clearly showing about a lot of options like, but I'm going to change with this 1.0. So 1.0 with which value that's I'm going to change with the like 3.0 in place is equal to true. When I'm going to perform this particular task and I'm just going to check it about the df1 whether it's going to be particular specific is done or so. So 3.0 is going to be done. So it's possible anything we can do. It's Python is a versatile and Python having a lot of variety in that particular things. A lot of things we can perform that particular thing. So it's not a one things we can do. It's only specific columns. But as a data analysis, we have a very huge data set. So we are not looking for a specific columns or specific cells removing and putting because you can see that 10052 values are going to be null values or the NaN values. So obviously, uh, you can perform this task directly with filling with that particular respective element. So any things you can perform this if you are going to put as the np.nan like np.nan, it's going to be used as the np.nan and you can see to it that this particular things. So but already it's a 3 point, so you can take as the 3 point because it's already going to be filled. So 3.0 is going to be filled with the null values. NaN values is going to be there. So you can fill any values here. It's whatever the 1.0 was there, it's going to be removed about the YNAN as well. So you can perform that particular task as well. But these are the optional things I just want to show you. I want just shown you about how we can do it with the specific cell or specific value we've required it. But in analysis, it's not required because the data is very huge, like 48,000 or that particular things is there. So we are proceeding with the next part. Like as I explain about the cleaning and everything, as there is an efficient way to clean or do we have to do? Yes, we have to do the manually, but it's not required. We are going to clean one each cell one by one. No, the whole cell or that whole column is going to be replaced with the required value or the we can drop that value as well. So there is no other way, like you have to do the automations or anything. Hope everyone understand it about it, whatever I elaborate or explain till now, like how we can do the null values or how we can replace the null values with some specific values. Still, anyone having any things which is not going to be understandable? See, there's one thing. If you are assign you if you people are join the workshop for the exploratory data analysis or that particular advanced analysis, obviously your Python should be a backbone or your Python should be a strong. If your Python is not going to be strong, definitely you will feel a difficult to understand about the queries or the particular script of the Python. So your Python should be a strong, because your pandas, whatever the analysis or whatever the manipulations we are dealing here or data wrangling we are dealing here about that particular things belongs to the Python's pandas library only. If you are not comfortable, if you are not having the knowledge, prior knowledge of the NumPy and the pandas, obviously you will always feel the difficulties to understand the respective line of the codes. So that is the important. Anyone still having any queries which is not going to be understandable, let me know so that I can try to elaborate or try to explain. This is just one example I shown you about. So we can proceed with the next part here about like how we can do it. So now, as in our data sets, there is a no null value. So we are going to check something like the particular stuff, like we have to check about coming to see some visualization as well as the analysis part of that particular things, which is important to understand about that particular. So as a missing values, handling the missing values are clearly elaborated how we can do it, handling the missing values. Now, as already I told about the how we can do is remove the outliers. So the outliers is also I explain it. So we can do it outliers as well as uh, I'm going to utilize or writing one function where I can remove the outliers for two columns here. I'm going to say, so I'm just going to define here this particular things. Uh, I can write it detecting and removing outliers for price and minimum night. Minimum night. So for these two columns, I'm going to perform here some task. So as it is, you can see to it that I'm just going to perform that particular things. How we can check the outliers yesterday already I shown in the last half hours. Already I elaborate about this particular things properly with the definitions way, as well as how we can change, or we are taken the examples, lot of examples of the outliers, like the particular respective. So this is a code is already is given. You can apply it. How we can remove the outliers. That's particular two methods. Also we saw it. So similarly, this is a price column. So I'm just looking it's the price column as it is. Defining the functions remove outliers, remove outliers. So this is one function I define. That's the function name is outliers. That's the remove outliers is the name of functions, and where the two parameters I pass. The first parameter is data frame, and the second is the column of that respective data frame. So the Q1 is there. Q1 is equal to, so df, that column, that's quantile. That's already we aware it about that. Q2, Q3 is equal to, so IQR lower bound is equal to, that's I come here about the upper bounds. So returns, you can see the condition is also there. That's the DF is already we saw yesterday the condition and everything's here. Now it's done it here. So till here it's done it. So coming to DF is your data frames. So remove is the outliers is your function name, and DF is the data frame, and the column I'm selecting as the price, and minimum nights as well. So I can reach here about this particular things when I'm just going to see about, or before I'm going with this particular things, I can come to here and just see to it my outliers, or whether is outlier is present or not. So what I'm going to copy and the paste about this two particular things, you can see that. So the df1 is there, df is there, plt dot shape, because your data frame is, so two things outliers is here, you can see to it that this particular things, let's we have to try to here. So the outliers, you can see that 15 48895, and one more things I can take, it's the outliers for this particular, before running about this particular things, you can see to it this, the price, and the one is the minimum night. So that's minimum. Right. So the shape you will get it. So this is one more thing. So you can just see and understand about that particular things for this too. Now, when I will go ahead and just run this particular things, what's going to be happen? So it's running now again. When I'm going to apply this particular things, hope the work is I can write is about that same line of a code here. After removing outliers. So the same thing is first I'm going to see about the price, about the XDF is as it is shaped as well. Let's, so this is, I can remove it, this particular things. Sorry. So it's going to be 3889, but maximum outliers is removed. It's showing whatever the outliers is showing is after the Q3. If you are going to run about this particular code continuously, might be that particular thing is also going to be removed. This particular things, sometime it's taking a time to remove. You can see that it's going to be uh, you have to 2 3 times you have to perform the task, then it's going to be completely, it's going to be removed. So now you can see that the outliers is completely removed from the price columns. There is no outliers is present. And again, if you go ahead and just do the 2 3 times task, obviously this particular thing is going to be kept as it is. That's not going to be any effect, or any particular thing is going to be done here. So what exactly we did, we removed the outliers. Earlier, you can see the structure or the visualizations of this particular shape of the price. You can see that there were multiple outliers, or a lot of outliers were present. Now, after removing the outliers, how the box plot is showing. So this is a Q1, this is a Q2, and this is a Q3. So the outliers always might be present before the Q1 and after Q3. Outliers is never, you visualize the things as inside the Q2 about that particular thing. So that's already we saw it. Now you can see that 35852. You can see that how many rows are going to be removed. Earlier, you can see the shape of your uh, out box plot, or that particular price columns 48895. That's that row. You can see that. And when we are going to remove the outliers, you can see that almost 13,000 around, or 30,000 and more about the rows are going to be removed here because of the outlier. Similarly, if you are going and performing about this particular thing as it is, after here I taken about the two things, you can do it with the any particular columns. It's not only uh, one column is going to be required. So minimum nights. So it's taking a time. Sometimes your server might be busy as well, so don't worry about that particular thing. Sometime it will take a time as well, so we have to keep proper waiting and everything's, we have to see to it that clear. So minimum night is there as the last run cell. You can see that additional connections, automatic sync failed, the file is updated remotely or in another tab. So we can that's fine, I will look at later on. So just try to understand about how we can do it, so how we can remove the outliers. So it's timeout. It's I think is happening. Now you can see the outliers for this minimum height. So just try to understand about this particular things. Uh, we can do its multiple tasks about that particular things. It's very, very important. Like we have to perform this particular task in every step it's required. Now, if I will go ahead and define about the df.describe, you can see to it that df.describe here. You can see that mean is 40 point, sorry, price is 113, minimum is 0. Now max is 277. You can see that max is 277. And yesterday, with when outliers were present, when we perform about the df.describes commands, what was that particular things? The df1 was the same data set is there, Airbnb data set is here. You can see the max is 10,000 in the price columns and the mean is 0. That's fine. The 69, 106, 175, that is 10,000. And once we clean the data properly, we remove the outliers. You can see the max value is 277, 75th percentile to 150, 100, 65. Standard deviation is also 59. And earlier, you can see the standard deviation is too big. The data was too much deviated. So now your data is proper clean and you can come to a certain decision. Yes, now data is proper clean and the outliers are also removed. Similarly, you can see that minimum night as well. You can see that 63211 about that particular thing. So you can just see to it that this particular thing as well. Earlier, if you can go ahead and just observe about this particular things, uh, minimum nights is was 1 1250. That's something mess up, something missing. That's how person is going to be utilized about the minimum nights about that particular thing. So 1250 is something clear about the questions or come in the minds like whether it's proper data or not. So it's as a data analyst, it's your duty. Like you have to make a data proper managed and proper well organized, or data should be in a proper formats for the analysis point of aspects. So we did here, our data is properly. Now you can see that properly. You can see that minimum nights when I'm coming to this particular, that is a 6, that is a 3, that is something we can say that it's acceptable or that particular things, because what your columns should be. Like when I'm talking about the columns, what exactly the column meaning about that particular things, like whatever the columns you have, like listing ID, about that particular things, or listing ID. So listing ID is what actually, because of that, why where we have to utilize about the that particular things. So listing IDs, this is basically the unique identifier for each listing in the data sets. And listing name is, this is the name or title of the listing as it appears on the Airbnb websites. And host ID is something, this is a unique identifier for each host in the data sets. Host name is name of the host as it is appears on the Airbnb websites. That's neighborhood groups, is this is a grouping of neighborhoods in New York City, such as a Manhattan or the Brooklyn. You can see that the neighborhood, this is a specific, you can see that the next one is a neighborhood. So this is a specific neighborhood in which the listing is located, like uh, Midtown, Harlem, Clinton Hill, where it's located. Latitude is about the geographic latitude of the listing. Longitude is again the geographic. Room type, you can see that there is a private room, entire apartment, about that particular, or shared room. And the price is obviously, the price is the nightly price for the listings in the US dollars. So this is about the dollars, is about this particular things. And minimum nights is about this particular, this is a minimum number of night that guest must stay at the listings. So this is also, you should understand about what exactly. And total reviews is, this is the total of the reviews that listing has received. Reviews per month is, this is the uh, something we can say about that particular things. Average number of reviews that the listing receives per month. And total reviews is, obviously you should understand about what exactly mean by the total reviews per month. And host listing count is the total number of listing that host has on Airbnb. And availability of the 365, you can see that this is a number of days in the next 365 days. 365 that the listing is available for booking. So this is, I just try to elaborate about the columns, about how we can understand about the, because the column understanding is very, very important. If you not understand what exactly the meaning of that respective columns, how can you come for the analysis or how you can go for further analysis. So just try to understand about this particular stuff. Still anyone having anything or any questions or still any particular stuff, because still now I'm not getting any difficult task or any particular stuff here. So this is I did about the data cleaning and everything I perform here. This whatever the procedures I applied here, cleaning the null values or removing the null values or filling the null values with specified values like unknown, fill that's no name, or the zero. Then I did about removing the outliers on few respective columns like the particular columns, the two columns we taken here is the price, and the second one we taken as the I can say that the minimum nights. So the two columns is already I did it. So hope everyone understand that process is known as the data cleaning process. We perform here about this particular stuff. So hope everyone understand it. Still anyone getting difficulties to understand, so just let me know so that I can try to elaborate again. Anyone is there? Yeah, Ramnesh. Ramnesh, I think you raised a hand, so that's why I
Oh,
asked.
sorry, I was on mute. So I
Okay.
said, thank you so much for explaining this. So I don't have a question regarding the function that you explained because this all makes sense to me because I'm familiar with all these functions. So, but my question is related to um, uh, the uh, that we have removed the outlier on price column. So I mean, just for understanding purpose, in the real world, uh, so when we're working on the real use case, do we need to remove outlier from the dependent variable uh, as well? So like price as is a dependent variable, right? So do we need to remove the outlier from that column as well?
Which column? Can you just?
The price one. So
I
in the
just
example,
removed about the price column.
uh, yeah. So but the outlier, you show the example to remove the outlier on the price column as well, right?
Mm.
It's just for the illustration purpose, or I mean, shall we need to remove outliers in that column as well?
Ramnesh, from what I get, that if you do not need that range, or if that range of price is not justified, over here we are not seeing any real world scenarios. These are just illustrations of a, what do you say,
Yes.
uh,
How you can do that?
sample data set. Okay, so if that value is relevant, and if the outlier is justified, we generally would not remove an outlier unless it is not justified for that use case. Um, if it is not justified, if we don't need that range of value, then maybe we can remove it, or we can, what do you say, clean up that outlier. Masyudin sir, please do correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. See, the first of all, that's it's outliers we are not removing always. If it is a needed, according to yesterday, I told that you whenever we see yesterday clearly I elaborate one things like the you have to refer the documents of the previous things. If it is required, then only you can go ahead and remove the outliers, and then you can justify whether it's an error or whether it's a anomalies or about that particular thing. So it's not necessary that you have to go ahead with the all the columns like the price, minimum nights, or the other XYZ more columns. If it is present, you have to go and remove that particular outliers. Otherwise, with your data set or whatever the data you will get it, it's totally going to be out. As I told in that particular things, as a data analyst point of view, I found here about this particular yesterday that's I found there is something fluctuations or something I found in the price columns about this, like the 152 is the means and I'm getting about the 240 as standard deviation. As a statistician, if you think it, the minimum the mean and standard deviation is a greater value as compared to the mean. So obviously there is something we have to look in that respective columns and we have to sort out the things. So it is not like that you have to remove for each column, so you have to go through with for the all the columns and remove the outliers as always required. No way. It's obviously depends about the situation, then depend upon the scenario, then you can go ahead and do always removing the outliers. Ramnesh, can you hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, make sense. Yeah,
What about
thanks.
other guys? Yeah, welcome. Please guys, just respond in a chats at least. Don't stop it. Only two, three peoples are always ping in a chats. Rest of the peoples are just listening. So please just you can either try to speak while turning on your mic, or if it is required, so you can just uh, comments in a chats at least, so that I can get the idea whether you are understanding or not. Because understanding is where the main concern because you attending the workshop which is based on the EDA with the help of the Python. Okay, thank you, Arish. And one more request, that's after the sessions, please turn on all of your cameras so we can just take one pictures that the session. So please just take a note. It's a request. It's not mandatory the things, but if it is possible, just turn on the camera once our session is over, so I can just catch one pictures or taking the screenshot so that I can send to the IDMI. That's these are the candidates who attended the workshops. Yeah, thank you. So please just be attentive on our chats. If I will ask anything, so at least you have to respond it, guys. You just require to show me the thumbs up or something, yes, or clear, or that particular comments. It's very, very important. So we have to see some data visualization here about how we can do the data visualizations because it's important. So I'm taking about something here about the uh, data visualizations. So I'm coming the data visualization. I'm just writing one question here about this particular things. A lot of things we can calculate it, and I will ask you questions. Okay. Uh, I need to see about the what I can say that total listing or the property. I can say that property count in each neighborhood neighborhood group using count plot. Count plot is the terms we have to utilize. Sorry, count plot. So I can take the same things in a continuously. So this is I can delete it first. Yeah. Now, what is the questions? The question is we are going to calculate total listing or the property counts in each neighborhood groups. Now, as already you are aware about the neighborhood group is there. So for that particular things, I can just take one more coding here about the df dot columns so that we can utilize it. So the neighborhood group is here. I need that particular thing. So to both the things you have to perform it. The counts I need it in the respective columns. And obviously, one more things I need it about to perform about the count plot. Count plot with the help of that count, we can see to it that total listing of the counts. So obviously there is a commands. You can stay, use it as it is about these particular things. Obviously, there is you should understand about one thing. A few pandas command as well, just like is null, info, df dot head, lot of things we did it. So I'm just going to use counts is equal to df. You can see that clearly it's going to be show you about df neighborhood groups dot value counts plt dot figure size and everything. But I'm not going to. I'm just doing this separately. So I'm just going to be so neighborhood groups dot value counts Okay, when I will just going about this particular things, what exactly this things is going to be happen, I'm getting as the value counts, or I can show you about counts. You will get the total counts about that particular things. You can see to it that Brooklyn has total how many neighborhood groups are there? Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, Bronx, and Staten Island. About this particular things, this is a neighborhood groups and their counts. So 15, 7, 90, you can say that Brooklyn has the highest neighborhood counts, Manhattan, then Queens, then Bronx, then Staten Island. About this particular thing, but the output is not looks like a proper. What exactly we can do it? So what I can write about here, I'm just removing this. I can write top neighborhood neighborhood group is equal to counts dot. There is a function in the pandas or Python or in pandas that's a reset index. If you using the reset index, what exactly it's going to be do as a reset index? The reset index is going to be performed about the operations like the particular in a pandas formations or in a pandas proper data frame, it's going to become in a pictures. So just like when I apply about this, and if I will go ahead with the top neighborhood groups, I can delete about this particular things. And if I'm going to do the control enter here, you can see to it that output. The output. So neighborhood group, you can see to it that and their counts. Now, if you can see to it that the output looks more professional and proper way. If you need to change the column name, you can do the column name as well as the changes can be possible because you applied the reset index is the functions where you whatever the series would be there, it's going to be converted in the data frame properly, like the row into columns with the proper things you will get it. So that's why we apply the reset index many times whenever we have to perform the analysis or the operations. So that is a very, very important concepts and try to understand many times it's required. Similarly, one more things, it's not necessary like I'm just going to show you about. You can see that top neighborhood columns. Like this is the neighborhood group is showing, but I need to change the short group as the uh, NG only. I need only NG, and this is I can just define as the C count in the respective columns of this particular data frame. That my data frame name is top neighborhood groups. Please take a note of that particular. So from the counts, DF neighborhood, so data frame and enter in the respective columns, taking the value counts and store in the particular counts. And then counts is going to be used with the reset index. So when I apply the reset index, it's going to be converted into the data frames. And that data frame name I just given as the top neighborhood groups. And the top neighborhood groups having the two columns. The first one is we can say that neighborhood group and the count is there. That's automatically will come because we have taken about the neighborhood group and their counts. So that's why these two columns is generated. Now I need to change the column name of whatever the thing is dot columns. So this ng and the counts. When I will go ahead and just apply about this particular things, you can see that the particular column is going to be replaced. That's ng will comes and the count will come. So just remember it. Sometime it's required. Okay, no issue, Rajesh Kumar Verma. Uh, yeah, Roshni, you will get it. The all the things. So just try to understand what exactly I did it. Now I can say that this is a total listing property count in each neighborhood groups. Like 327 in Staten Island, Bronx is 965. Now similarly, I need to see with the visualization way how it's going to be possible. And I told that I need a count plot where it's going the count plot. I'm not looking for any bar or any particular things. So I need a proper count plot. So there is the SNS dot count plot. You can see to it that SNS dot count plot you are going. X would be your neighborhood groups. X would be your neighborhood groups. You can see to it that particular things. X would be your neighborhood group. So I can just taking about that the count plot. So you can see that X neighborhood group plt.show. If you need to give the title, you can give the title as well. If you need to give the X label, Y label, about like X label would be neighborhood group, Y label would be total listing counts. You can give it to that particular thing as it is, like PLT dot title. So total is in each neighborhood groups. I can take the uh, font size as well. So font size I'm taking as that 15, neighborhood groups, font size 12, and here I can give as the name as the total listing count, font size 12, PLT dot show. You can see to it that when you are going to apply, so what's going to be PLT dot variable. Mm, yeah, the bracket is not completed. So we have to just check it about what's module matplotlib has no advert title. So that's again is going to be title. So we have to just check it properly. Now you can see to it that. So this is the visualizations way. So just see to it that this particular things clearly so that you will get the idea about uh, how we did it about skill M1. But the counting would be difficult to see about this particular 16, 14 update about that particular thing is going to be you feel might be a difficulties of that particular things. So that's why I just given about this particular thing. This is also possible, just like in Excel, we can perform the task. It's possible we can do it, but if it is required, then you have to do it. Otherwise, there would be something we have to write the particular commands or that particular things, then only it's going to be possible of that respective part or respective things we can take it about that particular things. If you just need about to see the counts or that particular things, you can perform the some type of a retaining of the codes of that particular things. Then obviously you will get able to write about like whatever the count is there, like 19 uh, what's 15740 about that particular things you can count as well as. So this is something you just try to understand about this. If you need to adjust with the plt dot figure size as well, you can change fig or figure the fig size. So this is something we can take as it is figure. So that's figure I can take as plt dot figure. So now you can see to it that, but again it's why it's showing two things, plt dot figure fig size. Okay, let's because PLT dot figure, if I will use the second, so it was not going to be considered. So just see to it that how we did it, how it's possible. Now we have to see a few more of visualizations here and try to understand about the things. Now I'm going to see about something, uh, point plot. I'm going to use about the point plot. Uh, there is some libraries I can use the from statistics. You can see to it that from statistics, statistics, import more mean, median, mode. So I can use the mean here. You can use it sometime. So this is the statistic module. I just imported. Sometime it is required. So automatically your visualizations can get a calculations from the np.mean because the estimator is there. So SNS I can take as the, or I can write the function name as the as it is. So or I can check the average price by neighborhood groups. So I can write here. Suppose visualize average price by neighborhood. It's required with point plot with point plot. So we have to just SNS is the commands point plot. You can see that x is equal to, so it's not necessary like you have to give it like the df. If it is required, so you can give it, otherwise you can write it similar way. I can show you multiple way. X equal to y is equal to this particular things, comma. Here it will ask about the data. So data is equal to df. Sorry, it's coming. Font size if required, then only you take it. So df. But there is one more thing is there, that particular thing is required is the estimator. So like the estimator is there, estimator, you can see that. So it's coming. So estimator will come in a pictures and you will get it about that particular thing. So if you're required to give the X label, Y labels, you can give the X label, Y label, as well as average price by neighborhood groups, font size, you can take as title X label. In plt.show, see if we are not going to give the plt.show, what's going to be effect, you will see to it that. Hope it will work. Some So you can see that average price of that particular things. We are try to understand about this visualization as well, because it's very, very important about you should understand about this particular things. Just see to it that sometime if it is required according to the requirement of the visualizations way, a lot of things we can do. It's a lot of things should be there. So the point plot, SNS dot point plot, we did its x y, we define its data is estimator mean. So this specifies the average mean should be calculated for each neighborhood groups. Like we are getting about these particular things, the output, you can see that it's a point plot. The average price of Airbnb of listing of for each neighborhood groups, the x-axis will represents different neighborhood groups. You can see that, and the y-axis is represent all the average price. Each point on the point plot will indicate the average price for a particular neighborhoods. So x-axis different neighborhood groups, just like you can see to it that and try to understand about this. But we can do it for the calculations for the manually as well as if it is required, so we can do it for the manually, not like the uh it's always like we have to do ahead and perform about this particular on this particular stuff as the visualize way. If need, it's about to calculate with the just like this particular things, neighborhood groups with the data frames, neighborhood groups, and instead of count, we need the average price. So we can do that calculation as well as, but obviously that particular things need more line of a code. So visualization is one of the very easy tasks we have to perform it, but doing the manually calculation is little bit a difficult task. But we have to move ahead. More visualizations. We'll have to see here more visualizations so that we can do a lot of analysis and that particular things. Let's again, I'm writing one more thing as the particular things. Suppose top neighborhoods, top neighborhoods by listing property using bar plot. Using bar plot. What's how it's we can use it? You can see to it that that's already it's you can see to it that you will get it about that particular things directly. Reset index, that's already I shown you this is neighborhood. Earlier we calculated it's a neighborhood groups. But I need a bar plot, bar plot visualizations. This is obviously we are getting and we calculated this particular things like head 10, top 10 is taken if you need only top 5. So like if I'm going to take as the top 5, it's coming as the top 5 about that particular thing says. Even the value counts, one more things we can take as the n largest is also that particular things. N largest or that particular n largest. You can see that n largest, definitely that will also work. So either you use n largest or the head, what are the different things we utilize it. So obviously neighborhoods, just like we did the similar way here, the same things is we applied here and similarly we can, but I need that particular bar plot. I don't need about this C2, about what I can say that mm, with this particulars. I need with the bar plot. How it's going to be possible. So anyone can write a bar plot. So if I will use the SNS dot bar plot, that's obviously you aware it's about the bar plot about that particular things. Data is I'm taking as the X as the you can see that particular things bar plot will comes because already we did it here. Desktop neighborhood dot columns. If suppose this is not defined, this particular thing is not defined. Try to understand I have to take the original data sets here. So obviously the neighborhood is going to be changed. And what's the name of that particular things? You have to check the spelling properly. Then only you have to also neighborhood is only. You have to take this copy and paste it here. First of all, do this particular things manually, neighborhood and the count. So data is equal to df, y is equal to count, bar plot, I can take it. And if I will go ahead with the PLT dot, not PLT dot show, if I will go ahead with the control enter, what's kind of a things output I'm getting here? So I'm getting as the could not interpret count for Y, an entry with this name does not appears in the data. So I can remove this particular things. What I will get it. It's possible to get the output of that particular things. Yeah, it's possible. But this is something it's mess up, you can see to it that. So that's why, because there are multiple neighborhoods groups are there, so obviously its understanding is difficult. So that's why we separated, we taken about the head 5 or this particular top 10, we can take it and we can sort out that particular things. So X is a neighborhood as it is, SNS bar plot we can take it about that particular things. You can see to it that this particular, so data is I'm taking this and font size and everything is going to be here. Now we have to draw this particular things. You can see that now it looks little bit better, but more I am going to distribute because this is something the understanding is difficult. This is Bedford, I can say that, but a lot of things. So I just going to change with this particular things as the, if I will not go ahead with this particular X label and Y label, font size, this is a neighborhood, that's totally fine. PLT dot xticks is possible. If I will take the rotation as 90-degree, it's little bit looks better. Now, if we can see to it that in a visualizations, if when I taken about the 90-degree, that's the naming, we can see to it that properly that's Bedford, Stuyvesant, Williamson's. If I'm taking about like the 7 or degree, you can set it according to your about that particular 45, what looks like, you can check it with the 45. So this is something, but that particular was purely a better visualizations, we can say to that particular thing. So 90. See, the visualization is very, very easy and very, very important. Whenever you need to do the data analysis, the visualizations play a very important role. Please take a note of that particular things. If you think like very easiest way we can do it, visualization and very easy way to understand and visualize the things. I also need a different colors. I don't need about the same colors. How I can do it, or how this particular things is possible. So I'm going to define one more things here about at the top of this. I'm coming to define about this particular things as the colors. So colors is equal to, there is a documentation is available, so you can see to it that uh, about this particular things in a Seaborn. If you can go ahead and use about the colors or that particular things, get the idea and understanding about that particular things, Seaborn documentations, Seaborn documentations, colors in which plot we taken as the bar plot. Bar plot. You can just search it about that particular things. So Seaborn bar plot documentation spy data. You can see to it that the color is plate, color none, plate none is about that particular things parameters. Every parameters you have to see to it that properly. Seed is also there. Color matplotlib color single color for the plate names. So everything is given in the documentations. You have to read it properly, carefully about that particular things. Like you can see that hue is taken is one of these things is the hue. That's Iceland is taken as the hue, and legend is taken as the column. So values is taken as the passengers. So that's why also we are getting about these different colors. But I'm trying to store it in a different colors, and we have to try it. So colors I'm just defining with the C first. That is G, olive, Y, that's C, YMBR. If I will take it, PLT dot figures. Sorry, and what's I can take as the color. Why it's not showing? Color is equal to colors. Created Y count neighborhoods kept out this particular scenario. That's where to try what's the error we are getting. So RGB sequence should be of length 3 or 4. CG only. Instead, I can try my way. CG volume Y, comma M, comma H, comma hash C0, 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 C0 about that particular things. These are the color codes. If you can search it, you will get it about that particular things. Hash 8, hash 008 triple 0 one more code is there. I can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more 10. 10. There are 10 we taken as the header. Head is 10, yes. So we can take as one more is the hash equals 0. It's not mandatory state, but if it is sometime if it is required, so it will work now. Still, it's not 3 or 4. RGB is having the length. So better I can take this is out. So PLT Y count. I can take PLT dot title SNS dot bar plot. Instead, I'm taking out this. I'm using about that was the name of the top neighborhoods. So top neighborhoods dot plot. That's kind I can use as the bar big size. This will I think it will work this way. So dot title. Why it's not color is not changing. Why it's possible. So count is it's fine. Take is the colors. Still plot declined bar big size color should be changed because we did it properly. Top neighborhood stats plot, create a color list. This is a color list we taken about CG that's available in the documentations. If you can see to it that in the matplotlib documentation. So that's dot plot. The kind we taken is the bar. Fig size is 10 comma 5. It's not necessary. The color is colors we properly taken. Hmm, five. What are the possibilities? We also what I think okay. Actually, the collab is not supporting, but if you will try in a Jupyter notebooks, definitely you will get a different colors. Those who are using the collab Jupyter notebooks, they might get the proper way. So just check it once. If anyone is going to utilize the Jupyter notebooks, please take a look for that particular things. Anyone is using the Jupyter notebook? Just try this line of a codes. If you are doing the practical implementations along with me, just try with the different colors. Definitely you will see the different colors visualizations here. So my main agenda is to show you about that particular thing, but the Colab notebook is not going to be supported that. This is a very simple line of the codes. This is C, G, R, Y. These are the code. That's or sometimes the code is also required. So little bit. That's we can take it about that particular thing. So but why it's not going to be utilized, it's I don't know because collab is not supportive about this particular stuff. So that's why we are not getting about this. But we can do it. If you have that particular things, definitely you can do it about that particular things. So it's required some time. So I'm not taking this particular colors here still. The earlier kept as it is. That's what the more SNS bar plots about this y top is. Yeah. So this is, I can take it and this will looks proper because for the visualization point, but the color we can change it. It's if it is required, we can do it. Uh, Similarly, we can calculate of as it is. I'm just giving one query to all. Just let me know whether you are able to calculate it or not. Top 10 host. So top 10 host with more listing or the listing property using bar. Take it as a bar plot. Anyone can comment in a chat. What should I write so that I can get the output? Anyone? Ramnesh or anyone can comment it in a chats. You have the column that host name column you have in a data sets. Like you can see to it that in a data sets with just yeah host name. So obviously you need the that particular host name that value counts, and obviously we need a top 10. So it's possible. Can anyone use here about the color? Just check it from your end. Color is equal to font size color RC total items. So anyone can just let me know what should I do. This kind of a things already we saw it. You can see to it that that's already in Google Colab. If you are using, then obviously you'll get it. Anyone? Arushi, Agastya, Rajesh Kumar, Devansh, Gandhara Gupta, Japnit Singh, Anjan, Mamata, Menon, Praveen, value.count dot head. Okay, that's totally cool. Like we, as already I told about that, how we can calculate it. Just you can see to it that this particular things you can take as the same line of the code. Here you can apply it, change your data frames column. That's what is the column name is this? Host. I can change name of that column. So the host underscore name. So host. So here also I can store it in a top 10 host. So in the end, you can take it as you can. You can go ahead about this top 10 host reset index. So no need to do a lot of things. You can see that reset index top 10 host columns. If you need it, you can see to it. The reset index why I applied it so that it looks proper a data format. So that's why the reset index I applied. Or also you can apply it here directly, the reset index. It's not necessary like you have to go ahead and do the separately. It's either you can take as the head or sometime you can take as the like directly columns and take as the 10 that particular things. All the rows are required. So that's particular 10. So also it's going to be work out here. So just see to it that no need to write again and again. It's a head or that particular things. So hope everyone understand it. If any things is going to be calculation will comes, anyone can comes and in front and calculate it. Can use bar plots. Yes, Rohini, that's totally perfect. So my dear friend, that's it's your duty. That's you have to create it that particular things. It's very easy. Like already we created a lot of things. So I can take as the SNS dot bar plot I told. So I can take as the bar plot top 10 host index. let's see how to it's going to be possible or not. So what's the problem I'm getting here? Index about that particular thing. So the bar plot is going to be problems about here. So that's we have to sort out the things. SNS, that's X is it equal to top 10 host. Y should be what we can take as the Y would be the testing would be there, that particular things. So where it's from, X. This particular thing. So obviously you will get it this particular output or that particular things. So what we can do it's about that particular things. So I'm just going to do one simple task here. So the host name and the count about that particular things. Now that's SNS dot bar plot count host y is equal to now it looks proper. Because you can see to it that I'm just taking not giving any value or that particular thing. So I'm directly going and performing this particular. If you need the give the title and everything, you can give it. If you are going to take only the top five or top 20 or whatever the thing is there, five, if you are going to take it, you can change here as well. So obviously the thing is going to be changed here, top five. So just remember it, how we can change about that particular things. Why we are using plt.xticks. I already explained it about that particular things. plt.xticks. You can see that rotation 90 degree. plt.show. You can see to it that I'm getting error 100% because the bracket I not utilize it. So you can see that now looks proper, more proper, more. So just see to it that particular stuff. See to it that. I hope everyone understand how we can use the visualizations, how we can utilize the things. It's very important. You should aware it. You should do it by your own way. A lot of visualizations you can do it as a data analysis. This is the main task we are doing every day. So let's next part I'm looking to perform here about that particular that's known as the scalar, like data transformations. So I'm looking to write here about that particular. Still anyone having any doubts, so just let me know so that I can elaborate this particular things again. So data, data transformation and normalization. Take as the data transformation and the normalizations. So let's we can move ahead and see to it that. So we are going to utilize to do that particular things about and try to understand about this because it's very important step whenever we are looking for the model planning or the model buildings. The data transformation and feature engineering or feature extraction is important. So before implementing this, you need one library that is known as the sklearn. This is also the documentation is present. You can go ahead and just write sklearn standard scalar, standard scales. We will see come to the documentation directly. So this class sklearn, that pre-processing standard scalar copy through, that's so formula basically. standardize features by removing the mean and scaling to unit variance. The standard score of exam sample X is calculated. So this is important. Please take a note of that particular things. This is very, very important. So you can take the example as well. Like that your data is 0, 0, about 1, 1, scalar, standard scalar, then print scalar dot fit data, standard scalar. Now you can see that print scalar dot that particular things means. So transforming the data, because as already yesterday only I told that your data is having the value, or according to your requirements, the value it is there, but your machine is not going to understand that particular data or that particular value. So to do or to perform that particular task, you need to do the transformations, because your machine is going to be understand in the form of array or in the form of the binary or in the form of that particular vector only. Your machine is not going to understand what is your data is telling to you, or what exactly this numbers 292 or 290 192 about that. Obviously it's need to convert in the proper format of the scalar. So that's why the standard scalar transformation is very, very important. So just remember it about this particular things. This is a very, very important. Now, obviously you can see that for that this is the code you should for the importing about this. So from scalar dot sklearn dot preprocessing, sklearn is the library specially designed for the machine learning and the deep machine learning algorithms. So whenever we require to do the automations with the help of the machines, whenever we have to train, or whenever we require to use for the model planning and model buildings, we have to use the sklearn documentation, the sklearn library. So from sklearn.preprocessing import standard scalar. So I'm just coming here and performing this task. First of all, that's is your duty. That's you have to utilize the task here, so that we can go ahead and just perform this particular task here as it is. So you have to run this particular things from sklearn. So it's got totally utilize it. Now I'm just going to define about that particular things as the scalar. So scalar, you can see that your standard scalar's name would be scalar only. So just remember it about that particular things about this is, so this is the scalar about this particular things. We are going to take it about this. So I'm taking about here this particular one more thing as the DF, that price. You can see that price minimum night. So the price I can take its price. I'm just taking about reviews per month, as well as whatever this come as just paste in the tab. So price minimum nights, number of reviews, reviews per month. So I can take one more thing as the I can take here about this one more column as the listing count. I can take it. So the host listing count I taken as this, as well as the availability, 365. This is also, so I taken at the calculated loss, the host listing reviews per month. So minimum number of reviews, I'm just going to remove it. Size minimize. And here I'm just using transform scalar dot fit transform df dot price minimum nights use. per month. So I'm just going to remove this particular thing. So these two things I can copy it here. Just a second. Repose. Let's see. Okay. So scalar dot fit transform df is this bracket as well as availability 365. 365. Then host listing count. So better I can write it about this particular things again. It's per month, post listing count. Continue, we can total. So this is something we are getting about df dot price about that. So what exactly we are doing to here? So that's from sklearn dot preprocessing. Importing standard scalar is a library, imports a standard scalar class from the scikit-learns library. This class is used to standardize features by removing the mean and scaling to unit variance. And we create the instance scalar is equal to standard scalar, and then we define selecting and transforming the columns. So I taking the columns here, the price, minimum nights, reviews per month, host listing about that particular things. Till here this particular all the things I utilize is there's all the columns. So what exactly we are going to perform here about this particular thing. So from the data frame df, we are taking the price, minimum nights, reviews per host listing count, and availability 365. This selects the column price, column about this is going to be used the fit underscore transform. So this method or this particular operation is going to be first fits the standard scalar to selected columns. It computes the mean and standard deviation for scaling and then transforms the data by standardizing it. Standardization is, I can say that involves subtracting the mean and dividing by the standard deviations for each features. So the result is that the transform data will have mean of 0 and standard deviation of 1. As I told about that particular formula is obviously it's going to be clearly it's divided by the standard deviation. So that is going to be subtracting the mean and divided by the standard deviation. So just remember it about the formula. Standardizations, the selected columns making their mean 0 and their standard deviation 1. This is a common processing steps in the machine learnings, especially when the features have different scales. Standardizations can improve the performance of your machine learning algorithms. And transformations point of view, when I'm talking, the original values in the selected columns are replaced with their standardized values. So just remember about this particular things. I will show you what the practical implementation as well, so that you will get the idea about that particular things, that particular explanation as well. So let's, I'm just going to click as a control enter whether I'm getting an error, what host listing and not in host listing count and availability. What's happened? Okay, there is a no. Hope it will work now. Columns must be same length as key. Columns must be same length as a key. show you better this because that columns is not need a lot of things. So better I can show you so that anyone can get about that particular thing. So let's I'm taking on a data is equal to about that particular thing as the price price about that particular thing. So 100, 200, and 300 price. So anyone can understand about this particular things. Price are taken as the comma. Then minimum nights, I can take the reviews per month 0.5123 availabilities. This is something we did wrong about this particular things because it's needed a column. I can take as the 100, 200, 300 or something. This value we can take its availability of 365, 300, 1, 2, 3, 0.5. This is the value we taken as the now df for transform is equal to pd dot data frame data, and this is your original data sets. So this is your data sets. Now, as I told about, I define about the standard scalar about this particular thing. So scalar is already defined. Now I'm taking the corrected selection and transformation of columns. So this is columns to scale is equal to, I can just take as the in a separate format as the price about this particular thing. So I taken as the minimum rate of found availability 365. This columns I needed. Actually, the data is a little bit more complex data above. So we need a lot of times to do that particular because one hot encoding because a lot of data is having the categorical data or object data. So that's why we need to proper do the formatting, floating, integers, every format should be in a common. So we have to do some lot of stuffs there with the so df uh, trans that's column to scale is equal to scalar dot fit transform df transform that's columns to scale and df dot transform. So let's we have to see to it that this particular output. Now you can see the output. Earlier, what was the output? The price is 100 and now we are getting minus 1.22. This is about 1.224 about that particular things. So this is about the value we are getting. Each value in the transform data frame is standardized and making the data sets more suitable for the machine learning algorithms that require features to be on similar scale. Now you can see the scale is going to be earlier you can see the value is 0.5, here value 1, here value 1, it's 100, it's 100. Now it's totally standardized in a proper scaling format. You can just observe it. So that's actually the process of the standard scaler. We are going to perform it, and then only you will get the proper value and proper output. Then only you will get a proper understanding of that particular thing. So this is about the feature, not feature, that is about the data transformations and the normalization. So what actually the thing is, it's 100, 1, 0.5 about it's going to be normalized in a same format. Now, if you looks about this data, the data is looks proper in a normal format, and that data is that's why we this process is called as the uh, data transformation and the normalization. Just try to understand about this, what exactly we did. Because if directly I'm going to pass these things in your machine learning algorithms, your machine learning algorithms will give the errors like the data, whatever you are passing, we are not going to be understand, or the machine is not going to be understand. So for to machine, your machine should understand your data. For that particular purpose, this step is mandatory whenever we have to fit or whenever we have to apply any machine learning algorithms in data science or machine learning buildings or the AI or the deep learnings, standard scalar is the very standardized process. We have to do that standardizations for each particular columns and to normalize the data so that your machine can get the understanding or the insight from your data and provide you some kind of a predictions or some kind of a outcome. So that is the main concern about that particular thing. So this is about the price, minimum nights, reviews per month, availability 365, and everything's we just sort it. Hope everyone understand it, what exactly we are getting about this particular things. That's why I taken here the layer dictionary is a different price is having 100, 200 availability. You can take any values, any proper values, you have to take it and just go for the standard scalar. Then you will just definitely get the idea about how actually we are getting about that particular output or how the standard scalar is going to be possible. So this is about the standard scalars about these particular things, because whatever the task is there, like we have to see the first was we saw about data cleaning, handling missing values, detecting and removing outliers, data transformation and normalizations. Then the feature engineerings we are saying that's like how we can do it about that particular thing. So data transformations and normalizations we did done it here about here this particular. Still anyone having anything so in your mind, so please you can ask. Definitely I will try to provide you the best solutions so that anyone can get the better idea and better understanding about that particular stuff. uh, Similarly, I'm coming to the next part as these particular data transform feature engineerings. uh, like we have to create the new features, create the new features about that particular things so that for the categoricals, you need to convert that data in the form of the numericals. It's directly, it's not going to take about the categorical value. We have to convert that from with the help of the label encoders and the one-hot encodings. Concept is there in the machine learnings. So after the conversions of that particular categorical data in the form of the numericals, then it's only the possibility is there. Otherwise, directly, if I'm going to use it for the standard scalar for the categorical columns, obviously you will get an error and it's not going to be uh, possible. So just remember it about that particular things. So as already we have this particular now feature engineering, I'm looking for the feature engineering here about copy this particular things. So the text I can take it. Feature. I can come as the, I'm going to use about that create a total reviews. So that particular things like feature engineering is like we have to creating a new features or the new feature means that's the columns. That's creating a new column, summarizing review per month or a year can give a total review counts about that particular thing. So here I already taken about I have one data, just I taken a small data here so that we can easily understand about like this particular thing. So just like df uh, underscore trans this particular data, or I can take directly here, copy and paste about this particular thing. So first I'm going to run this particular code. Yeah. So this is my data. Now I'm just going to use about to performing summing. Uh, I can write is the reviews per month, reviews per month plus a year for a year can give a total review count, total review count. So just like is a df.trans total reviews, you can see that into 365, or you can give as the 12 as it is. If you is considering about the month wise, it's a 12 be the proper, I think. So obviously you will get about that particular output. So df.transport. So you will getting about, so you can see that total reviews, you can see to that, that 6, 12, and 13, 18 about that particular things. Because you can see that what exactly we did here about that particular things. So whenever we have to create any particular multiple new columns according to the requirements, like the calculations of the or the need of the your data sets, like whatever your data set is there, about like this particular things, reviews per night, about like what was the columns are there. So there are a lot of columns available in here about like minimum nights is there, for examples. So minimum nights you can take about that reviews per night. So the reviews per night, how it's going to be possible? Obviously, it's required about that particular things. You understanding the maths behind this particular things. Like if we can take about this an example about like, uh, I can take about the calculate reviews per night can indicate the popularity. I can just write about popularity of listings. So this is for this particular things. I'm just going to create it. So what we have to do, it's obviously we have to do is, you can see that. So df.trans reviews per night is equal to, the new column is going to be created, and that new column is known as the reviews per night. So df trans total reviews, then again df trans minimum nights about that particular. So total reviews or reviews per month, you can divide it about that particular thing. So obviously you will get about that particular outputs. So if I'm going to take it about that particular thing, so you can see that one reviews per night you are getting about this particular thing as it is. So this is the way you can calculate it about how it's going to be possible. uh, is it possible or not, whether we are able to calculate about or not about that particular thing. So just try to do a lot of features. You can, features means that's variables or the columns. Always remember, right, whenever we have taken any data sets or data frames, the columns are called as the features or the variables. So similarly, you can create a multiple features. Like I can give one objective to all of you, like create a listing utilization features. So how it's going to be possible? So you can take the listing utilization is about the availability of 365 divided by 365. Obviously, you will get this column divided by 365. Definitely, you will get about that particular thing. So you can do a multiple task to perform the operations. Definitely you will get about that particular things. Similarly, uh, if you can go ahead and just perform some tasks to manipulations with this particular things, just like a name column, you have to add it, uh, add the new name column as well about here, and give some name, and then from that particular the, you have to define the name columns, you have to use the lambda functions. Lot of things you can apply it. So just like we have the name columns, I think in our main data sets, I can try it here. There it's on. So I can take directly here about that particular things. df dot columns. So the name column would be there. I think listing name is there. Yeah. So the listing name is there. So from that particular things, definitely we can come and we can perform the task about what we can do is about that particular things, because earlier we changed the listing name would be there. For example, if I'm going to apply this here about the df dot name length, name length, listing name, apply lambda x, this particular thing. So what will be the output? Or what will be the output I'm getting about this? df is, that's fine. Df is my, so let's, I can go ahead and just see to it that. So this is my listing name. I think one more column is going to be created here about that particular things. That's name length. So we can create the name length as well as with this particular thing. So the name length new column is we created in our original data sets. And that's we applied the dot apply the lambda functions. You can see to it that and try to understand that's converting invoke function or values or a series can be functions. So functions parameters, you have to use it and you have to utilize it, and just see to it that so obviously the length of the x is going to be calculated. Whatever the length is we are getting in the listing name, you can see to it that this particular thing. So clean and quiet apartment home by the park. So this is the lambda function is already available in the particular part. So also you can indicating whether the listing is hosted by a super host. So we can use a lot of things, lot of things we can uh, like I just need to create one more features here about that uh, what I can say that particular in a feature engineerings, I need to create one more features. So creating a feature for the price per review, per review. So what exactly is going to be happen? How it's going to be calculated? So DF, you can see that automatically here it's automatically we are getting DF price per review is equal to, so price per review is the new column. Please take a note of that particular things. And your price column is going to be divided with the total reviews. And when I will do the control enter, definitely the new column is going to be created. And that column says you can talk about that particular things price per so an infinity or that particular thing. So obviously the you aware about that particular things why we are getting about this particular value or this particular thing. So just remember it about we can create a multiple features here about this particular things. As you aware about one things like in the feature engineerings, hope everyone understand it what we did in the feature engineerings. Yeah, more homogeneous. Yeah, Rushi, that's we can transform the data into the more homogeneous forms. Yes, similarity because equality. Now as I'm coming to the next part as this particular things, because this part is belonging to the uh, feature engineering and feature scaling, like encoding categorical features. So the categorical features I'm just going to take as the neighborhood group. These are the two groups, neighborhood groups, as well as room type is also there. Neighborhood group, uh, room type. That's room type. So this is actually be written about the comment. Uh, the data frames df is equal to pd dot get dummies. So it's taking about the dummy values, df, columns, neighbors. So I'm just taking, giving the name df dump, df dump. So df dump. So it's a new data frame will come in a pictures. So pd dot get my new data frame name is the dump, df dump. So what's going to be happen? That's it's going to be taking about the value about this particular thing. So let's I'm going to try it about that particular things whether it's working or not. Now you can see that neighborhood group, that particular things, it's going to be happening. Now neighborhood groups or the that particular room type is going to be further divided into the different parts as this particular room type entire apartments. So false true, false room type private room, false true room type shared room, false true about that. So it's a dummy values you will get it about that particular things. So just try to understand about this. Earlier it was, if you can see to it that how many columns were 17, now it's a 23. So six column is going to be distributed here, 20. Now if you can see to it that this particular thing as it is, so neighborhood group Staten Island, either true or the false. Neighborhood groups Queens, true or false. Neighborhood groups uh, what we can say that Brooklyn, Bronx, or that particular thing is going to be utilized about that particular thing. So this is going to be possible. And obviously later on we can put the value true as the one and the false as the zero. Obviously you can get it about that particular things as it is. So I can go ahead with this particular, if I'm going to write here about the uh, this particular things. So just try to understand about this particular things. P dot dummies. What's the difference we are getting with the help of the one coding or one hot encodings? If you learn later on about the clustering or the classification algorithms, then that particular times you will get the understanding about the one hot encoders or the label encoders. For that particular things also it's going to be possible. uh, so just try to about understand about this particular things as well. So this is a very, very important. I can show you one more times about that particular things. One simple, one more example with this particular thing. So you anyone can get the idea. Data is equal to, I'm taking one more short data I can take as the price, 100, 200, comma. I can take as the neighborhood group, just taking as the Manhattan, Brooklyn, about that particular things as it is room type, this particular things as it is, comma, neighborhood, neighborhood. But that's is something we can talk about this. A so data is a DF dummy. This is something I did a mistake here. So first we have to remove this particular things, and obviously this will work out. Now this is your D type. You have these three categorical data ABC. Now I'm just going to apply this particular thing, so you'll get the better understanding about this. DF can write about this particular thing is directly here. So DF underscore dumb PD dot get dummies room type. Now just see to it, try to understand about this particular things. What will be the output you're getting? Now you can see that true, false about that particular things. So first neighborhood ABC. Here I'm taking only two types. If you are going to select about the third column's neighborhood as it is, so you will get it. So, but I'm taking about now again, I'm going to run this particular line of the codes data. You can see that here I'm taking about these, what I can take as the neighborhood. Better we can copy it and paste it so that there is no spell mistake is going to be happen. This is done it with all the columns, neighborhood groups, room type, and this. Just going to use about the drop first is equal to true. Is there any difference we can see to it that particular things? So again, you can see that what's the difference? Neighborhood group Manhattan, true false, room type private rooms, false, neighborhood B, false, neighborhood M. Something is going to be happen, or I can show you again so that you will get the something better understanding. So first, I'm not just going to take out till here.
Brooklyn was dropped, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why actually I want to show you df.dump without drop, without drops. So here I'm just taking about the without drop first. Completed. So just try to understand about without drop. This is a drop first concept I'm not taken about here. So Brooklyn is, you can see that. Now I'm coming to the same line of the code. Oh, sorry. So this is become as the control C, control V, about, but only here I'm just going to change it about the drop first, that is true. So D, I'm giving the name as a D. So drop out, drop it with the dummies, I can taking here about. Now you can see to it that is particular. So just see to it that. Now check the differences. I think the Brooklyn, so drop first we applies is going, so Brooklyn is going to be out. Brooklyn is going to be out here from this particular things. And from the room type, that's entire home point, private room, entire home apartments, private rooms. So also, if you can go ahead and just check it about that particular neighborhood BM about that particular thing as well. So what exactly this particular line of a code is telling, or this particular thing is telling you about, try to understand drop first is equal to true. So this parameters determines whether to drop the first level of each categorical variables after one hot encodings, and it helps in reducing multicollinearity in the data set when these variables are used in a regression model. So just remember it about this particular things, why we are using the sometime it required to use about the draw first, or sometime it's not required. So by default it is at false, but if you need to do the particular to remove the first about that, but drop the first level of each categorical variables, you can do it and you can perform with the drop first is equal to true. So this is way we can create it about that particular things, or we are getting about this. uh, just try to do with your side as well as, and like how we are getting about this particular output, please try and just see to it. So this is a very, very important step, as someone is asked about like how we can do it with it. So obviously the category is very, very important. Now, again, the people I might be confused about like still it's a categorical data. It's a categorical data. Like if we check it about like df underscore dump d dot info. So what exactly it's going to be saying? It's a boolean. You can see to it that it's a boolean about this particular things. So it's a boolean. It's clearly showing about. So it's not a object type. And obviously, if you need to convert in this particular in the integer format or that particular thing, so obviously there is a commands you can do it about that particular things is the df dot dump dot as type as type integers. And let's see, we have to try to see to it that now it's clearly converted into the format of the what I can say that the integers. So 1001 about that particular things. Hope everyone understand it. Or still anyone having any things in your minds? Ramnish was asking about the questions. Yeah, does it transform? So if you need to transform the categorical data, first it's mandatory that you have to convert the categorical in the form of the numericals. Once it comes in a numerical format, you can go ahead for the feature scaling and that particular thing. So feature, not feature, that's normalizations or standard scalars. Then 100% you will get it. Still, anyone having anyone not understand? See, we did a lot of tasks today about almost whatever the EDA process we are performing. Each and every step we followed here, like how we can utilize it, or we can perform this particular things. So just see to it that try to at your ends and let me know if you are having any questions or doubts. Uh, what about guys? How much you are getting the idea about like the feature engineering, feature scaling? It's a very important process. Feature engineering and feature scaling is very, very important, or the standard scaler. Without this particular stuff, you are not able to go ahead and perform the different tasks here about this particular things. So this is about the what we saw here about that particular things. I'm just going to share. Hope everyone, I can share my notebook here so that you can refer for further utilization as well. So I can copy the link and I'm going to paste in a Teams Meet. I also share my notebook as well as, so don't worry about that particular thing. So collab.research, I just shared about that. Anyone can refer it. So you can utilize that particular things. Now I'm going to show you about one important part as these. This is my Jupyter notebooks in front of you. I'm going to show you one practical implementation. It's not going to do from the initial phase, but it's a extra part I'm just showing from the what I can say that the topic is decided because I have some little bit time, so that's why I want to show you about that particular things. So just see to it that this particular things, there's all the things is available. As if you can go ahead and just see that till here, this particular things is going to be for your uh, workshop or that particular thing. So just remember it about this as IDMI is giving. But as I have a little bit times of 25-30 minutes, so I just want to elaborate something so that anyone can get the idea and he can get the understanding about that particular things. So I'm not going to show you about any particular uh, traditional algorithms. I just want to show you about something about the advanced algorithms, some practical implementation, and I can expect that you people might not getting about the exact understanding about that particular thing. So just like this is a CFAR 10, you can see to it that this is a something, some machine learning algorithms I applied it. Obviously this is something I use it. So this is some algorithms I can just show you about the run with all the cells. So just try to elaborate to one or two practical implementations how we can do it. This is something about the deep learnings, and I'm coming to the linear regressions here about. Yeah, it's not going to. Yeah, add a boost. Add a boost. So add a boost regressions. So it's cardeco.com's project was there. A lot of things we did it about here about price predictions with the linear regressions, how we can do it. Just let me open it so that anyone can. Yes. So just see to it that first of all, that's as a data science, how the work is going on. You have to first of all that particular things. There's some simple problems is there. I have a data set of the housing data .csv. You can see that see to it this particular crime, ZN, Indus, Chas, Knox, RM, Age, Dis, Rad, Text, Bit ratio, Bs, LStat, and MADB. These all the things are available here. Now, as a data scientist or as a data aspirants, if the thing will comes as like you have to predict the house price predictions. So how the thing is going to be possible? First, you have to import the data, whatever the format is there. Obviously, you can see to it that its attribute informations in order is given. So first, what I did here about I did. Hope my screen is visible with everyone or not. Please just reconfirm it. It's visible?
Visible. Yeah, visible.
Yeah. So what I did here about this particular thing is about, I just rename my columns here about this particular things. You can see to it here about this particular things as well. So what I did here about this is as a housing data, that the keys and everything's renaming about this particular things. So it will take little bit of time, but obviously you will get the output. So you can see that the midway is going to be replaced with the price. Now this is my price, whether it's considered in a lakh or whatever currency you can give it. It's totally up to you. It's not required. But here we are just looking for the practical implementations. Again, I taken about the crime, ZN, Indus. These are the null values. These are the basic procedures. Now 20 lstat. So I just use the dropna commands. With the help of the dropna, whatever the null values are there, they are going to be completely removed. Completely removed. 100% the value is going to be removed here. It's not going to be fill and not use about here the fill now functions. I just use about the drop now function. Now, when I use the drop now is the commands. With the help of that drop now, if you can just go ahead and just see to it that this particular things, this shift, if you can go ahead and just check it about this drop now functions. So obviously you will get the idea about it's dropping the whatever the null values or the empty values are there. It's completely the entire row is going to be dropped. Please take a note of the entire row is going to be dropped. And if you are using the fill now, that's already I just elaborate about the fill now concepts. So you have to fill with this respective value. And as I'm talking about these particular things, the box plots, and still I'm not going to remove about the what I can say that outliers. I just kept as it is and moving ahead with this particular, and when I will remove about this particular things output as well. So it's totally up to you. If you are not going to remove, that's totally fine. If you remove, the correlation is everything pair plot. The pair plot is one of the concepts we have to use to see the correlations. So it's taking a little bit of time to draw because the whole uh, combinations or the whole correlations of all the variables, it's going to become here, and you will get about that particular thing. Still here the data is going to taking about time because the approach is, you can see that how the machines is going to be trained. This is the advanced algorithm, this is image classification algorithms, this is the deep learning part. So I'm not looking first here about that. So that's why it's taking a time, because if you can see that your kernel is completely busy here, so it's taking a little bit time, but I will try to elaborate till by till. So obviously this is the something, the visualizations we are going to see here, the crime rate versus the price. And obviously you will see, and you will see that, so you can see that feature extraction. Again, I'm going to do about the feature extraction. So the y is always, if you can remember it about the linear regressions, the basic regression algorithm. So y is equal to mx plus c. Y is equal to mx plus c is always there. So y is equal to mx plus c will come in a pictures, and you will get the idea about that particular things. Uh, so y is always a dependent variables. Whatever algorithms you are going to perform, it's whether it's you, I'm going to use the ADA boost or the linear regression, logistic regressions, any algorithms, all the algorithms concept is same. You have to separate the dependent and independent features. As I told, the feature engineerings, we are creating the new feature. So the X would becomes as an independent features. And from that particular things, only the last column is not going to be included. You can see that as I told about the pair plot, with the pair plot, you can see that all the possibilities is going to be, you can see that any particular things like the age versus tag speed ratio and everything. So you will get price versus crime, everything. And if you need a separately, you can do it a separate way as well. So this is about this feature extraction is what actually your DF price, except the price columns, the all the other columns will go for the new features that is known as the X or the independent variables. You can see that. And this line of the code is telling you that only the last column will comes as the dependent features or this Y. So, and you can see that X is till else that you can see to it that the columns, and the Y is only you will see the price columns, because we are going to predict the price. We are going to predict the price or house price predictions. And obviously you have to separate the things proper way, because you have to uh, train some amount of data to your machine so that your machines will get understand, and machines is going to be trained on the training data. So when you pass any value or any new data from your machines, machine is capable to give some kind of a predictions. So that is actually about the machine learnings, modelings, or model training or model implementations. So this is obviously, again, I'm not going because it's not a part of the syllabus, but I have a time, so just I thought like I have to elaborate these things. So from sklearn.models, this is the library train test splits. What is going to be the from the x is your independent, just try to understand x is an independent, and from this data, the 80% or 70% data will go for the training, and the rest data will go for the testing. Similarly, from the y, 70% or 80% data will go for the training, and 20% data will go for the testing. And it's not like that it's automatically will go for the training and testing. It's might be happen according to your uh, order. Like you have to define, it's like here I define test size is 0.2. That means 20% data I need for the testing, and the whole data of the 80% in the trade x and the y will go for the I can say that about that particular thing is the uh, testing. So 20% testing and the 80% training. If you change it's like 25% testing, so 75% data will go for the training. So just try to understand. In random state is 42 we applied here, because if I'm going to apply multiple algorithms or multiple models for this particular uh, data set, so the data is not going to be disturbed. So that's why we have to select as a random state 42. So this is some line of a code. XY are the features. From the XY you have to selected X train, X test, Y train, Y test. So the train part is, remember, for the training data, and test for the testing the data, because how much your model is proper you have to test. Because the if you have the 100 records, from the 100 records the 80% records or 80 records will go to the training. So once your model is trained, the 20 data or the 20 records will go and check its how much predictions or how much accuracy you are getting, or score you are getting. So you can see that train shape is 29313, and test shape is, you can see to that 7413. So 288 plus 73 361, and if you remember it about that particular things, 367 rows and 13 columns was there. So obviously it's a 74, so you can check it, change it about according to that particular thing. Say like a 293 plus 74, so it's a 367. So 367 rows, you can see to it that 367 as it is, and columns kept as it is 1313. And training, obviously the columns is only one columns is there, so obviously you will see that only 293 plus 74 in the y module. Now x train is this, and y train x train is this particular things. Just try to understand these things. Now feature engineerings we applied here from sklearn standard scalars. We apply, we fit the transform. Now you can see that x train data is how looks like it. You can see to it that, and once we apply this standard scalar, how data is looks like. So it's a homogeneous, so the data is properly standardized and normalized so that your machine is able to understand and will give you some proper predictions or the accuracy. Now X test is also we applied about that particular transform, you will get this kind of a data. Just see to it that and try to understand about this particular things. Now we are going to model planning and model buildings or model planning in the training. So we just selected here about the linear regression model. This is again from the sklearns. Please remember it. Sklearns, if you can go ahead, this sklearn documentations, you can just see to it that sklearn documentations. Always try to, if you need to transit your career, the sklearn library is one of the best. That's classification algorithm, regression algorithms, clustering. Currently, we are seeing the regression algorithm. Similarly, the classification algorithm is clustering is also there. When we have the multiple groups or that particular things, model selection, each and every part is given. But obviously, you need a proper guidance how you can utilize about this particular documentations things. So regression, we use about the linear regression algorithms. You can see that this is your algorithms. The model is going to be fit. Model is developed. Now we have to use your particular models here. So I'm just, this is the equation of the linear regressions, traditional equations, y equal to mx plus c. Uh, your model name is here is a regression. If you want to give the any other name, you can give any other name, but model name is a linear regression. So I just given the regression. So regressions dot fit. When I apply the regressions dot fit on the training data, your model is going to be fit on the training data. Now you are going to use about the coefficient of that. So coefficient value, you can see the intercept value, because coefficient value, this x is, you can see that how many columns were there about this. You can see to it that 13 columns. So the coefficient would be 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 6, 12, and 1 is 13. So 13 coefficient, and intercept C would be there by default. About the intercept would be there. So y equal to mx1 plus mx2 plus mx3 plus mx4 up to mx13 plus C. So intercept is a common and slope would be the common. So x1, x2, x3 would be going to be changes, because there are 13 independent variables are there. So 13 intercept, 13 coefficient value we have to see to it that particular. Now I'm going to predictions with the test data. This value with whatever we are getting, it's big. Your model is trained on the training data, like the 80% and 20%. 20% data is remaining, where is going for the testing point of view. So rig predictions or regression, this is the name I'm giving. You can give any name. So regressions, prediction, regression is the model, dot predict is the functions inside the model, and you are going to pass the test data. You are going to pass the test data, and when this data is passed, you will getting this value. You can see to it that this value you are getting about that 30.266. And y test as it is, this particular thing, slope, intercept, this all the things is exceptional, like best fit line regression models. If you learn the model regression models, you will get the exact idea that best fit line is known as the best outcomes of your projects. Now I'm coming to this directly about this particular things. uh, R2 score and all the things. This is about your prediction is telling to you 72% is your accuracy. So if you pass any value, 72% your data would be accurate. It's not about 100% accuracy, because 100% you will not get it. If 100% you are getting, obviously, uh, that is not, we can say that is a predictions. It's about the accuracy. So whenever we talk about the predictions, your model accuracy should be greater than 70% and above, not about less than 70%. So you have to check, because I did not apply any further evaluations here, like from the correlations. If I can see to it here about this particular things, from the correlations, when I applied here about this, you can see to it that from the correlations, you can check with the price with this particular things, like this minus 0.43, 0.10, about this, all this, just like this 0.43, 0.6. This is a very good negative, but strong negative it is there. 0.1, it's a positive, but not that strong positive correlations. 0.1, that's positive correlations, we can say that. So sometimes if we need to drop particular columns, we can drop, and we have to train, then obviously your percentages can be increases in the accuracy as well. But here in this practical implementation, I just applied and just going to train my machine learning algorithms, and I'm getting about this 70% above my data is accurate. 70% accuracy I'm getting here. You just try to see to it as 72.23%. So R2 score is something like validations is there, means absolute error, squared error is about the value we have to always calculate for the cross validations, like how much your model is accurate. The less mean squared error or mean absolute value you will get it, the more accuracy you will get it. If your value is going to be increases, this value is going to be decreases. So it's going to be very important to calculate and to show that about that particular things. Now you can see that particular things. I just passed this particular data here about, this is something about the new data. If you can remember it, we have the this all the features. L stat is the X. When this data is passed, you will get the price value. Just like I can show you my original data frame. If you remember it or not, I don't know. from this. When this all data is going to be passed, you will get like 24. When this all will comes as a pass, the value, you will get 21.6. So similarly, we predicted our model. The model is predicted and model name is I given about the model name is here about, you can see to it that model name. I just try to save my model name is their scaling and regression model 1.pkl. So my model name is rig model 1.pkl. You can see that I loaded as well. If I'm going to change here the value, currently what I'm getting output 20.365. If I'm going to change this value, just like here, if I'm going to change, or you can take the data as well and see the correlations. Like if you can see to it that I can df dot correlations. I can come to this particular stuff here, df dot correlations. Df dot correlations. So just like I can show you about, sorry, but so price versus crime. So in the crime, I have to reduce the value, for example. Similarly, Indus negative, I have to reduce the value. Crime index and NOx. Let's consider crime index and NOx here first of all. So crime index and NOx. So crime I can give as the like 0.0. Index I can give the value less as the 0.07. NOx I will get as the 0. Now when I will do it, this all are the procedures, because if you not go ahead, because we are not deploying model here. Deployment is the different things. Scale, now predict. Now let's, what will be the output? You can see to it that. So it's totally dependency and independent means, and inversely proportional and directly. Yesterday someone asked about like this, what exactly about the correlation. So it's about the directly proportional and inversely proportional. When I will see to it that if I will increase about this is like the 4 or something. 4. And if I will increase about the Indus as it is 10, and Nox is also I increase about the 4. And if I will go ahead and control enter about this, all the things, all the cells I'm going to run it. Let's see, your price is going to be decreases. Why? Because they are inversely proportional. If the one this that thing is going to be increases, obviously your price is going to be decreased. You can see that this graph is a minus because the value is inversely proportional and crime is very high. Obviously the price is going to be decreases. In the notebook you shared above, the codes are only available. No way, it's not about outliers only. I think it's not automatically save it. Sorry, I can download that particular things and will share with you, all of you, in a directly WhatsApp group, so you can refer it as well as, so don't worry about that particular things. So sometime it is might be we are getting a problems here. So hope everyone understand it. This is one of the practical implementation we saw that. But if you can see to it that the EDA is very, very important. Without EDA, your model, you are not come to a sufficient or that particular stuff. Even in the ADA boost, if you can go ahead and just see that ADA boost as well. Here, I applied multiple algorithms, multiple data cleaning, handling missing values. If it is there, you can see that car place. I'm going to drop some columns unique about getting all different types of the features. So there are a lot of things we have to do in this particular feature encoding and scaling about this particular thing. Just like you can see that transmissions type, model, about seller type, unique, lot of things we can perform it that particular things. Model training, model selection. So you can see that lot of models I'm going AdaBoost regressor, linear regressors, k-name, nearest neighbors regressors, decision tree, the ridge, lasso, L1, L2. That's a lot of algorithms I'm going to apply. And I'm getting about the R2 score for the linear regression is 0.62. This is 0.6645. Zero lasso is 0.626645. Reaches we are getting 0.62, k nearest 0.86. So this model giving the better predictions, and uh, decision tree is 0.99 almost. But this is for the training, and model performance for test is going to be reduced 0.8809. So this is for the training for score you are getting as a training, and this is for the testing. So there are multiple algorithms you can also apply it. These all are the part of the machine learning algorithms. Still anyone having any doubt? Similarly, in CNN, you can see to it that I use about this is a CFAR images. If you can go ahead and Google it about that CFAR 10 data sets or that particular things. So CFAR 10 data sets, department of that particular things, you will get about this. This all are the data sets about the oil plane, automobile, bird, and everything is there. So we taken a data set here, CNN CFAR. Your model is going to be trained. This is something more advanced algorithms because its work is like a neurons, like it's like one step behind about the Gen AI models about that particular thing. So this is the layers we are going to pass. Your model is going to accuracy you are getting about that particular test accuracy is 0.72. So we have to pass about the image. You can see to it that when I pass about the image, I'm not getting output here from this. Maybe history CFAR is not defined. Okay, model history CFAR. Oh, is not test accuracy. So two times is going to be model.compile Adam optimizer from logistics model one. History CFAR is there. History CFAR with the padding, test loss, test history CFAR. History. It's fine. Make predictions. You can see that I just pass one image here. There are two methods I elaborate here. I pass one image. This is a horse image. That's totally fine. I can show you about this particular things. Image to array. So see, predicted class is horse and actual class is also horse. External image when I'm going to pass it. Now you have to see to it that predicted is horse. Actual is also this. This is the image. I just pass it. This is the image. This is I pass it. If I will going to change about the other images as well, you can see to it that when I will get use the cat or any other images like the cat GPG copy path, if I will use it about this particular CNN CFAR, you can see to it that this is some extra things I'm just showing you cat.gpg. So it's a cat and prediction is also you are getting. So image is obviously the cat image. You can see to it that if you can go ahead and see about this particular where it's my file is already available. You can see that cat. This was the image. You can see that the image is obviously I pass as a cat and my model is capable to give me the predictions properly. So predicted and that particular things both are the we are getting about the same value or the same thing. So just try to understand about this particular things. This is something the advanced algorithms. It's about the neural networks because this algorithm CNN, ANN or RNN or the deep learning is a model who is capable to capture the unstructured data as well. This is not a structured data. This is unstructured data. So it's unstructured and structured. Whenever we have this structured data, well formatted data, your traditional machine learning algorithms are capable to learn and train, and you will get the proper prediction, just like we get the house price predictions here. But when we have the unstructured data like image data, video data, audio data, text data, for that particular data, what kind of algorithms are important? So NLP, natural language processing is there, and as well as the deep learning algorithms are there. And from that particular things, you can create a models. But always remember it, the EDA is one of the best process and one of the most important process. You always have to find it. You have to do the normalizations. You have to do the feature scaling. You have to do the dummy values, or you have to fill values. You have to use the sum. You have to use the. You have to create a multiple columns. You can do the dropping the columns. You can renaming the columns. Lot of manipulations, data wrangling. You are going to perform it. So that process is very, very important, because if your data is not well clean, not proper, not structured, not formatted, your prediction is going to be affected. If you are already learning about the data science or data analysis, always remember it. First, you have to go ahead and just perform without removing the outliers. You have to perform the model planning, model buildings. You have to don't remove about the null values or empty values, and directly from that you can go ahead and predict about the predictions. You can go ahead and train your models and predict the results. You will get a less accuracy, but when your data is well clean and well formatted, well organized, your prediction is also increases. So always remember it. That's the EDA or exploratory data analysis. Sometime if you are learning about the Power BI, Tableau, the ETL is there, extracting, transform, and the load is there. That's the most important and the more time consuming and the most time consuming phase, or the most time consuming step, is known as the exploratory data analysis, because in that particular things, according to the requirement of the stakeholders and according to the requirements of the uh, your managers or your organizations, you are going to perform, you are going to consider that respective columns, features. You are going to do the lot of feature scaling, feature engineerings, lot of stuffs you are going to perform it. So for that particular reasons, EDA is one of the most and the important features in the data science phases. The extracting the data or the gathering the data. After the gathering the data, the data pre-processing or the EDA is one of the most, and the time almost 40% to 50% time is going to be performed in exploratory data analysis. And once that particular thing is done, we can go for the model planning, model buildings. And once the model planning, model building is done, we can go to communicate with the results, and we have to save your models in the different formats. And then we can go ahead with the different frameworks, like the deployment your models in the Flask or the Dockers or the cloud. There are different domains where we can deploy your models, so that whenever the new data is going to be passed, automatically your model or your machine is capable to provide you the results. So this is all about the 2 days workshop on exploratory data analysis. Still anyone having any queries or doubts or any questions or whatever things I just try to elaborate you, still anyone having any doubts or queries, please go ahead with your questions, queries, so that at least I can clarify your doubts or the queries. Please go ahead one by ones. If you possible, try to speak up. If not possible, please at least write in the questions in your chat box. Also, that's how you understand about this 2 days workshops. It's helpful for you or not. You can just comment in a chat box how much you understand about this. Whatever I try to elaborate, hope you understand it. If you not, at least let me know, so that I can uh, improve myself as well. That's important for my perspective or for my personal experience. I just always need to get the review from my audience, because if you know it about that, the NLP, natural language processing, one of the algorithms we are always dealing, whatever the comments or whatever the things you are providing to your e-commerce websites, from that he is going to create the feedback and all the reports. So anyway, step by step or one by one, please go ahead and just let me know Yeah, obviously more practice is required here. Hands-on is the key. Yes, more practice is required. Without practice, without see, I just taken hardly 20 minutes to elaborate about the EDA in the theoretical, and without wasting the times, I just started about the practical implementations. Because I always believe on the hands-on or the practical. Yeah. Obviously, you see, my the that's the colleague Shifa will share you the recordings and all the things. Yeah, thank you, Parul Taneja. Yeah, obviously the practice is very, very important. You need a practice. Without practice, because it's a coding and we are doing the manipulations with the data, so obviously the practice is very, very important. Yeah, please go ahead with your queries or any things you want to elaborate. Rohan, Riddhi, Praveen, anyone can come and go ahead and just elaborate little bit things
Sir, will
about.
you be sharing some material, PDF material, and some assignments which we can practice?
Yeah, definitely. I will share it on Monday. Monday afternoon times, I will share it, or probably whenever I will get a time. But Monday, you will get the some materials and some kind of an assignments on EDA as well, so you can do the practice as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I had one small question. Is there any place that you look for data sets like these, or you create them on your own with random values? Because the main trouble we have while practicing data analysis is the data set,
Yes.
having a very small data set. So, is there a place where you can get these data sets?
Yes. Obviously, you can go ahead and search. Say there are multiple places you can see to it that the Kaggle is one of the best site where we can get the multiple or enough data sets, or according to your choice of the data sets. You can refer the Kaggle. I can share about this link as well in a chats, so you can refer its Kaggle. So like already I'm there in Kaggle, so you can go ahead. There are a lot of data sets is available. You have to just register and sign in with your Google accounts. It's a free of cost, nothing required. So there is a plenty of data sets are available. So you can see that, you can type it. You can see the size here. This is a 24 clean Pakistan biggest e-commerce sentiment analysis for mental health, 12 MB data set. So this is lot of data sets are available here as well. So you can use this
Okay.
particular platforms to referring about the data sets.
Okay, and are these available only in CSV or we can get the database format as
Uh,
well? DB.
it might be available sometime. You can see to it that in there is a filters you can apply it, and there is these are the SQLite, BigQuery, JSON, and CSV. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So CSC, JSON, SQLite, and BigQuery. These all are the formatted is available. Is there?
Okay, fine, sir.
So the data
So
sets you will
I,
get it.
I also had an out of the box query, which I don't think explain means asking here would be correct, but I'll connect with you for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I work with Xerox and I'm into enterprise content management for DocuShare. I'm in one of the implementers here. So I wanted to know something regarding to DocuShare if I can link it with Pi. So I'll connect with you later regarding this.
Yes. Please connect with me. My number is there in a group.
Yes,
So
sir.
you can connect with me later on. That would be definitely if I'm it is if it is in my area, definitely I will try to elaborate about the things. So don't worry about it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, anyone having any queries or any doubts about that? See, data sets we can do it. Also, I can suggest one more sites. This is the Hacker Rank. Hacker Rank, please try to use about this site as well to learn a little bit, because this is a site. It's a free of cost site. You can learn it and you can do it. Just you have to sign up as a when you are going to do a sign up. That's I'm here to hire tech channel. No, to practice and prepare. For practicing and everything you need to do, it's about that particular. So just create an accounts. You will get a lot of questions about that particular things as well. So suggestions also, if you are looking to learn the Python, W3 schools is there, so you can learn with this Python as well. That's if you need whatever the Pythons you want to learn it, you can learn it about the Pythons from this particular things as well. Like if you are looking for the EDA about that particular things, you can see and you can go ahead about the EDA as well as you can learn it from this Python, whatever the things you want to learn. But this is the only the basic idea you will get it about that particular stuff. The data sets, you can take it from anywhere. That's Maven Analytics is also the sites from where you can take a data sets. So there are a couple of websites are available where you can take about these uh, data sets from anywhere, any place. And the data sets is obviously the live data sets. You will get it only when you are working for any organizations. Otherwise, it's not, because sharing the current data or the live data is a little bit illegal thing. So we cannot share the live data directly. But that's as a e-shiksha. That's the training provider is a e-shiksha, and our organization name is the Cloud Stats. So if you can go ahead, if you have a time, that's already we are in the market from last 10 years. I can just go ahead and brief about that particular cloudstats.ai. If you can see to it that this is my main organizations, and one of the uh, departments, or I can say the venture is a e-shiksha who is supporting in the training and developments about, and the ideamize approaches us to provide the training on the respective topics or that whatever they design about that particular thing. So obviously we are into the this particular domains. We are an IT service company. So if any candidates are willing and looking for the uh, professional training in the data science or data analytics, so obviously for that particular purpose, we are providing the training with proper data sets or the real-time data sets with our organizations for their final projects. Because in the projects, it's important, like we have to understand, because when the project we are doing for that particular period of times, need we totally need about the live data, because in the live data, when we have the real time data, the data is going to be fluctuate, data is going to be erupted, and for that particular things when we are dealing, obviously it's very important. So if you are
Because it will be
taking,
purpose oriented,
yeah,
right, sir?
yeah,
Because it will be
yes,
purpose oriented.
yes, because obviously the team is working for that particular, because our clients are the BHEL, GAIL India, about, so to, we are dealing, we are providing the services to them. So what exactly, how the scenario will comes, how actually we are dealing. So then you will get the exact understanding about how we can do the EDA, or how we are fitting the models or applying the models, and we are deploying the models so that the live data or that data is going to be erupted or the data is going to be utilized. So this is all about uh, things. Still, anyone want to elaborate or say something? Please go ahead. It will be a good that if I will hear something like what exactly you are doing, you can also just turn on your mic and just let me know that uh, in which particular departments you are working, what exactly you are working professionals, or you are just a learner, or you are a college graduate. So what exactly? So if you are just write some line of about yourself, so then it would be a great for me. That's I will get a little bit understanding, and in futures the group is created, we can connect with each other's any things required from my sides, any help required in the field of data science and the cloud computing, definitely I'm there to help you. Whatever the things required, or if it is in my area or my cup of tea, definitely I will try to support to all. So anyone want to come, just like the Praveen is elaborate, like he is from which department. So anyone can also come and just tell about yourself, like you're working or you're just a learner or what exactly. Yeah, Vikram Jetli is in the field of ERP, SAP, Microsoft Dynamic JD for the last. Wow, that's very nice. In Excel, also we are performing the exploratory data analysis. It's not about only in a Power BI. We are also performing exploratory data. Whatever the tools are there, the Python is also one of the tools where we are going to perform. But why Python is very important? Because if you are going to further plan for model implementations, model deployments, or that particular thing, so for that particular reasons, Python is capable to train your data in with respect to machine learnings or machine learning algorithms. But that particular phase you cannot do with the Microsoft Excel or that particular other tools like ClickSense or the other things. So that's the beauty of the Python. So Vasudha is saying, I'm working with commercial excellence department sales on thermometers this year, learning new skills. Thanks for the session, Dr. Rajesh, HOD Marketing C School of Business Studies. That's very nice. That's I was also working some a year ago as a professors in engineering college. QA analyst. That's very, very nice. That's QA analyst. Mamata is then want to shift my career path. Yeah, that's definitely you can easily transit your career, Mama. 100% you can do your transition in telco and diamond industry and business and commercial data specialist with exposure of data science. That's very nice. Rohan Satarwal. That's very, very nice. That's I can say that I graduated this year learning. Yeah, definitely Japanese things you can do your transitions very easily. Definitely you can do the transition. Data science transition is a very easy transition. Just you need a proper understanding of the concepts and the tools. And if you are capable to combine both the things and uh, give the outcomes, definitely you can do it very easily. The transformations. What about others, guys? That's I aware. Sonal Raj, Siddhi, Sakshi, Rohini, Lean. Please at least let me know that's from which background you are, people. Anyway, thank you for your valuable times and valuable patience. Yeah, 100% you will get a recordings and everything's 100% you will get everything's. Uh, we are on a groups. Yeah, math student. The math students is very good for the data science because I was also the mathematicians earlier. I'm in 11th class. It is in 11th class. Yeah, I will be starting my master in physics in August, but I wanted to learn something new. So I'm currently pursuing a short better you can go ahead with the starting master in physics. You can go ahead the master in the data science or the AIML. That will be a better, just a suggestion for you. That's you will get a better exposures in recent years. So that's I can suggest you as the Arushi that suggest suggestions for you this particular things. I have worked in banking industry for 9 years. Currently working in an investment company. That's investment company. Thank you so much for everyone. Uh, for your valuable times and patience listening. If still anyone is happening from my side, so sorry for that particular inconvenience. If anything's like the in between the sessions, if I will, my network would be not proper or something is there. So sorry for that particular things, but I try to cover all the topics, whether the IDMI is given or the contents. I tried even I got extra time, so I completed about the few machine learning algorithm exploration as well as a deployment as well. So anyway, I will be in touch for future purpose as well. If required any support from my side, so I'm just one message away. You can always ping me. Definitely, we will be in touch. Just requesting if any all can just turn on your camera so that we can just take one pictures so that it would be a good for us to give as it is. So just allow me 1 minute. Just getting together mode here about that particular things. Come on, guys, just turn on just for few minutes, not few minutes, just for few seconds. It's not about the whole time. I will say that you have to turn on your camera just for few seconds and be in touch. Definitely, if any help required or any support required in this particular domains, just ping me anytime. I will be there. So 22 people are showing on only 16 pupils. I can see to it that. just see to it this particular things. Yes, hi everyone. So yeah, I just taken the screenshot 2-3 times. So definitely we will be in touch, and thank you so much for your valuable times, and keep patience while the sessions. Uh, this is Dr. Masiddin Khan's taking a sign off from this particular sessions, IDMI, Python for data analysis. We'll be in touch for futures information exchange between us. So thank you so much. Thank you very much. Now we are going to sign off these sessions. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
And enjoy your weekends.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.